Hi, Stage 1. Today we will be learning about telling the time. Today our learning intentions are to learn to tell the time at o'clock and to learn to tell the time at past. Your success criteria, which is how you will know that you've learnt this, is that you will know which clock hand is the hour hand and which is the minute hand. You will know that a clock is made up of two halves. You will know that we read the time as o'clock on the hour and know the time is read as past the hour when it is 30 minutes past o'clock. An analog clock face is made up of generally a round shape with the numbers from 1 all the way round to 12. This hand is the hour hand. It is the shortest hand on the clock and points towards the hour of the day. This hand is the minute hand. It is longer than the hour hand. It shows how many minutes past or to the hour it is. Now, Mrs. Sig has a special trick for remembering which hand is which. The word minute is longer than the word hour. So the minute hand is longer than the hour hand. I've always thought that was a pretty clever way to remember. When the minute hand is pointing to 12, it is showing a full hour. We call this o'clock. On this clock, the hour hand is pointing at the 8 and the minute hand is pointing to the 12. This clock is showing that the time is 8 o'clock. Can you see the dark red hand pointing at the 8? Can you see the bright red hand pointing at the 12? Anytime that bright red minute hand is pointing at the 12, it will be o'clock. When it is 7 o'clock, the hour hand will be pointing at the 7 and the minute hand at the 12. When it is 8 o'clock, the hour hand points at the 8, the minute hand at the 12. 9 o'clock points at the 9, the hour hand at the 9, the minute hand at the 12. 10 o'clock, the hour hand points to 10, the minute hand points to 12. 11 o'clock, the hour hand points to 11 and the minute hand points to 12. So at o'clock, the minute hand always points to 12. The hour hand points at the hour that it is. So now it's your turn to have a bit of a guess. What time is it on this clock? The minute hand is pointing at the 12, which means it is o'clock. And the hour hand is pointing at the, I hope you said 7. It is 7 o'clock. What time is it on this clock? The minute hand is pointing at the 12, which means o'clock. The hour hand is pointing at the, that's right, 3. It is 3 o'clock. What time is it on this clock? I hope you said 11 o'clock. The hour hand is pointing at the 11 and the minute hand pointing at the 12. What time is it on this clock? That's right, it is 6 o'clock. What time is it on this clock? I hope you said 9 o'clock. It is 9 o'clock. What time is it on this clock? This one's a bit more tricky. The minute hand is on the 12 and the hour hand is on the 12. That means it is 12 o'clock. Which clock shows 2 o'clock? Is it the first one, the second one, or the third one? I hope you said the third one. That one is 2 o'clock. The first one says 8 o'clock, and this middle one says 3 o'clock. Which clock shows 4 o'clock? Is it the first one, the second one, or the third one? Have a look carefully. I hope you said the first one. This clock says 4 o'clock. The hour hand is on the 4, the minute hand is on 12. The middle clock says 9 o'clock. The hour hand is on the 9 and the minute hand is on the 12. And the third clock says 10 o'clock. The hour hand is on the 10 and the minute hand is on the 12. Which clock shows 10 o'clock? I hope you said the middle one. If you did, you're correct. The first one says 4 o'clock and the last one says 3 o'clock. Which clock shows 3 o'clock? I hope you said the middle one again. This clock shows 3 o'clock. That is 1/2. That is the second half of the hour. So 30 minutes take up half an hour. When it is 30 minutes past the hour, we say half past the hour. So at 12 it is o'clock, and as the minute hand moves around and gets to 30, it is half past the hour. It is halfway round the clock, and it has the other half still to travel until you get to o'clock again. Look at this time. The longer hand is pointing at the 6, which is halfway round the clock. Where is the shorter hand pointing? Is it on the number? No, you're right. It's not on the number. It's halfway between 1 and 2. As that minute hand moves around and goes around the clock, the hour hand moves very slowly between the 2 hours. So between, if it was 1 o'clock and the minute hand was pointing at the 12, as it moves around and it gets to half past, the hour hand is halfway between the 1 and the 2 to show that it is half past 1. So this clock is showing that it is half past 1. That hour hand has not reached the 2 yet. What time is on this clock now? The minute hand is halfway round. Blue hand is the minute hand. Where is the black hand? It is halfway between the 11 and the 12. So that is half past 11. It hasn't got to 12 yet. It's not half past 12. It's half past 11. What do you notice about the small hand? We just said before, is it on the 3? Is it on the 4? Or is it halfway between them? It is halfway between the 3 and the 4. So what time is the clock showing? The minute hand is on the 6, which is 30 minutes past. It is half past. But what hour is it half past? Is it half past 3 or half past 4? I hope you said half past 3, because the hour hand hasn't got to 4 o'clock yet. So it is half past 3. Which clock is showing 2:30? Is it the first clock, the second clock, or the third clock? I hope you said the first clock. That clock is 2:30. Which clock is showing 9:30? The minute hand will be on the 6 and the hour hand will be halfway between the 9 and the 10. I hope you said the third clock. That clock says 9:30. Which clock shows 7:30? That's right, it must be the middle clock. The hour hand is halfway between the 7 and the 8. That clock shows 7:30. Now it's your turn to show Mrs. Sig and Miss Shamoon how amazing you are at telling the time of o'clock and 1/2 So in your book, I want you to draw a clock face. Make sure you include all the numbers of an analog clock from 1 all the way round to 12, and then draw in your hour hand and your minute hand and label them so you show that you know which one is which. Great job, stage 1.